Put the sticky in. Hello, everybody. John Schumacher here with Hangouts that Convert. Welcome to the Hangout again, and we're excited to continue to talk about Facebook advertising for your online business. And today we're chatting with Facebook marketing expert and business strategist Valerie Shoopman. Valerie is also the author of the book on Facebook marketing with Nick Unsworth. She's worked with a lot of big name entrepreneurs like John Lee Dumas, Nick Unsworth, and several other big brands online. I think she told me when we were working together a little bit that she'd actually been in paid advertising for like 10 years or something like that. So she's definitely seen the entire industry. She's had a lot of huge success. Some of that she's going to share with you all this evening using Facebook ads. So if you're a newbie, if you're an intermediate, if you're an expert, you're going to learn a lot from this session. So stick around. If you can hear me okay, just go ahead and chime in, say hi in the chat box. If you have any audio issues, we have a sticky note popped in there. You can watch us on YouTube if needed. It's a little clearer on YouTube sometimes, so if you're having any issues, try refreshing your browser and checking out the sticky note at the top of the chat roll there. Go ahead and chime in. Looks like we got a few people piling in here. And I'm also, in a moment here, before I toss the camera to Michael, who's over there. Oh, wait, he's in Boston, actually. Yeah, I know, we're doing these virtual things here. In a moment, I'm going to pop in a poll just to start this, and I want to ask you, and it's going to talk about, are you using Facebook ads in your business right now? This will kind of help Valerie, help me, help Michael, everybody kind of tint the discussion a little bit. If it tends to be more intermediate, we'll tint it that way. If it's a little more beginner, we can kind of go that way a little bit too. So in just a moment, I'm going to actually pop in a poll. Go ahead and take that poll, and we'll kind of leave that open for a little while, and we'll see what kind of responses we get, see who's using Facebook ads and who's not. So looks like we got Joanna, Steve, hi, Nikki, Jeffrey, Stuart, Christy, Patricia. Welcome, everybody. Go ahead and just say hi so we can make sure that you're there and you can hear us. And I'm going to pass the camera over to Michael. He's going to chat a little bit, and then we'll get started.
Well, hello, everyone. It's so great to see you here. John took a lot of my housekeeping thunder already, so I don't I don't need to say too much right now. But post your thoughts and questions at any time during the chat. I will keep track of them and engage with you a bit in the chat. We'll make sure Valerie gets to them. But I don't want to waste any more time. It looks like people are here and excited. John, I'm sending it right back to you to introduce the shoot.
All right. All right. Well, that was quick. So anyway, Michael will be monitoring your comments at any time. Ask a question. We will mark it. If you want, you can make it extra easy on him by just marking your comment as a question. If you look on the chat roll, there's actually a place where you can mark it as a comment, so Michael can track that as a separate question. Hello. Let's see. We got Selena, Travis, Betty from Colorado. All right. Sounds good. Anyway, let's just jump into it. We're just no fluff, all about the content here. So we're going to go ahead and just get started. I'm going to bring on Valerie Shoopman, who's a Facebook marketing expert and business strategist. Again, she is the author, I believe, of a best-selling book, the book on Facebook marketing. So Valerie, just say a quick hi, and then we'll just jump into the interview.
Sure. Hi, everyone. Glad you're here. Excited.
Sounds good. So Valerie, I get this question a lot, and people get super excited because Facebook ads are just so sexy, right? I mean, they're just like, people want to learn them, they're excited about them, they see other people getting results with them. But the reality is, not everybody may be ready to start using them to a certain level. Now, can you share a little bit about your thoughts on when that solo entrepreneur or that small business, maybe they're just getting started, when should they think about using Facebook ads?
So I think they should be using Facebook ads once they have that funnel proven. So many people just want to jump in and they're like, oh yeah, this is my first webinar and I just came up with this product and I'm not quite sure who my target audience is, but I want to run Facebook ads. You're not ready at that point because you'll spend the money, but you haven't refined the process. You haven't proven the model. Of course, the first thing is your target audience and know who your target audience is, and then making sure your product or service offering matches what their biggest challenge and frustration is, that it's solving that. And then once that, make sure you're ready. If you've never done a webinar before, go ahead and do a webinar and invite a few friends. If you have a small list, great, invite that list. But get those one-time jitters out of the way so that you're confident, you know your material inside and out, you're comfortable with all the controls, you've got your sales pitch down, that's all good to go. Now you can pump some money in Facebook ads and just amplify it and, scale that up.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah, and I think a lot of people miss that as they just get started and they forget about that first step, which is really identifying who you're talking to. There's actually people on the other end. They have wants, they have pains. You need to be able to share your message through your ads in an effective way that speaks to them. Otherwise, it's just not going to work, right? So.
Right. Another thing on that for target audiences, just because it's such a topic that confuses people so much, and that is, people say, okay, I serve a lot of people, or I even had one client that said, I can help all humans, but the truth of the matter is with Facebook ads, you need to target down. So even if you have a couple of, say, demographics that you solve, maybe you help teenage women and you also help, older women, take your pick, whatever, but the point I'm trying to make is that you would have to run separate campaigns, or the same if you service both men and women. 9 times out of 10, when you get on a call with them, a strategy call or a strategy session with them, you're going to talk a little bit differently. Your language is going to be a little bit different. And that's the same it needs to be for a funnel for a Facebook ad. If you're targeting all women, you're not going to say, hey, dude, what's up? It's going to be a little different.
Yeah.
And people get confused about that. And they're like, but I don't want to narrow down. I don't want to work with just women. Or I don't want to work with just, this group. And what I want to emphasize is you don't have to work with just that group, but you do have to fine-tune an ad campaign to just that group.
Yeah, and that's so critical. And that's advice beyond Facebook ads. That's like advice for business, right? Like,
right.
You can't be everything to everybody. Like you say, you need to spike deep in something, and then you can spider out and help other people. So you obviously spike deep in Facebook ads, but you obviously know a whole lot about business strategy and other things too that you can now help people with. Just like we did with Google Hangouts and Google Hangout webinars and stuff. We're trying to spike deep with that, and then of course we have, you build a brand.
You learn other things along the way.
You do, and it's valuable stuff. So, what about? And before we move on to the next question, I got a quick little point here. What about using a small amount of Facebook ads? Because you can set it for like $1 or $2 a day to just test your message into the market. Like run a little interest campaign or a few ads into a landing page, and just to test a little baby setup or a baby funnel to see how that works. If you have extra cash, you recommend that?
Yeah, absolutely. That's going to give you some feedback. I will say, though, what I see sometimes with that is people still haven't refined the targeting. They haven't refined the messaging. And they only want to spend $1 or $2 per day. And lead costs are, even if it was all aligned, are, especially to cold traffic, are probably going to be more in the $4 to $5 range. So then, it's not really enough to do effective testing, in my opinion. I would much rather someone take the time to do surveys, and this is something that comes up that so many people don't know about, and maybe you don't either, John, is SurveyMonkey. You could actually, I know you probably know about SurveyMonkey, but did you know that you could actually put in your target audience who you want to reach and then pay for those responses? So if you have the demographics of your target audience and the specifics about them, you can create your survey, put those in to filter down for that, and then tell SurveyMonkey, here, go send my survey out to those people and then give me the responses back. So you could actually do some market research beforehand. Of course, if you had a list, then you could do a list, you could do it on social media, but people want to skip those steps. People just want to get right to it and skip that stuff, and that's that prep work, that market research is what makes Facebook ads work so well.
I'm guilty. The heck is that? I get so excited about stuff. So I'll have to look at that. So SurveyMonkey, actually, you can link up Facebook with it, and it'll actually send out stuff.
Well, you don't even have to link up Facebook with it. It's just through their system to create the demographics and such of your target market. And the responses are pretty cheap. I mean, about last time I checked, around $1 per response, which isn't bad.
I'll have to look at that. So, by the way, the poll, I can't believe it, it's 50-50. 50-50. So the audience is 50-50, and so that's surprising. It was 53-40. Oh, now it's 53-47. Excuse me. So the majority it's about even. So we got an intermediate group here. 47% are using ads in their business. 53 have not or are
Awesome.
not.
I would love to know. Can you put up on a poll if they're in e-commerce or I would love to know if it's more service-based or e-commerce product-based.
Okay, so what are we going to ask here? Hold on, guys. Bear with me for 1 second. We'll create a quick poll here.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I throw you off, John?
No.
Okay.
No, okay. What do you want to ask?
So I'd just like to know, as they're running, the people that are running Facebook ads, is that for e-commerce, so they're selling products, or is it more service-based where they're selling services?
Products or services. Okay, everybody. So in a moment, we're going to pop in a poll. If you're running Facebook ads, what do you sell? I guess that'll work, huh?
Yeah, that'll work.
And then we'll make the results public. And in a moment, I'm going to pop that in. So look out for that. If you're running Facebook ads, what are you selling? We'd like to know. Is it a product or a service? And then we're going to move on to the next one. So I just went and popped that in. We'll see what people say there. And next question, Valerie, about budget. A lot of people have questions on the budget. Like, how much? Is it expensive? And I know you talked about the need to really get clear on your marketing, your messaging beforehand, so you don't just throw money, at an ad and just don't know what the heck who you're targeting or what you're doing. Can you give some strategies or just your thoughts on maybe an initial budget for somebody who's just getting started?
Sure, John. I mean, and here's what I always ask. What are your assets? Do you have a list? Do you have website visitors? Do you have a fan page? Those three right there, your list, your website visitors, and your fan page, those are all what I consider a warm audience.
Yeah.
And warm audiences will convert better and cheaper. So that's always good to know. And of course, if you've got those, go with those first. And also what I do is any testing that I want to do, image, headline, copy, that sort of thing, for the creative, I'll test against those warm audiences, and because they're going to resonate better anyway, and then I'll take whatever image or headline or copy won with those warm audiences, and then go out to what I call cold audiences, and the cold audiences are more your general interest, your competitors, that type of thing. And what you're going to see is those costs per conversion pretty much double on the cold audience versus the warm audience. So you have to look at those two factors. Now that being said, it just comes down to a numbers game. So if your average cost per conversion is $5 and you're only spending $2 a day, it's going to be a little hard. And I'm that conversion person. I don't get all caught up in clicks and the click-through rate and the cost per click, because at the end of the day, that's not truly what matters. What matters is what is the cost per conversion or the cost per sale. And I've seen so many campaigns where, and that's what I focus on, the cost per conversion, the cost per sale. And then the click-through rate might be lower, but the cost per conversion is lower too, where you would think it would be the other way. So that's why I say, focus on the end goal of what you want, and those are the measurements you should measure. Now that being said, back to your question about the budget and how much you should spend, I think effectively to do any testing at all, I know people are running $1 and $2 a day. I've not found that to be successful, especially when you pull in that cold traffic for what I've been doing. Now, if I'm just doing a like campaign where I'm getting people to like the page, the fan page, then you can easily get by with, $3, $4, $5 a day for a like campaign. But if I'm looking after conversions, whether it's to get people to opt in for a downloadable or to register for a webinar, then I like to run those. My preference is a minimum of $10 per day on those. I know, again, some people are doing less than that, but when I'm looking at those conversions, I like to do $10 a day. My preference, if I have the budget, is $20 a day. And why I say 20 is because that allows me to quickly test things, especially if you're working in that, $3, $4, $5 per opt-in range, that I can quickly determine what's working and what's not. This might be helpful for the audience too. As I'm talking to people, potential clients and so on, let's just say, for example, a webinar. I like to work through the numbers and make sure it makes sense. So for a webinar, and we'll just say broad strokes across the board, average $5 per conversion. So if you had 1,000 opt-ins, that would be about 5,000 ad spend. Of those 1,000 opt-ins, about 20% are going to actually show up live. So you're looking at 200. If you do a great job with your presentation, you do a good job with your close, you can expect about 10% of those to actually purchase. So that comes down to 20, if we are working with these numbers. So then if you take a look, okay, I spent $5,000 in ad spend. Well, if your product is only $97 and you made 20 sales, that's not going to get you to a break-even point. But if your product, is 500 or 1,000, or your service, then you're going to be able to get to a break-even point. So I always want to work through those numbers with people, and some people might be going, 5,000, that's not even in my, radar. That was just broad stroke numbers, and it's easy for me to calculate in my head, 1,000, 100, and so on. So you just reduce it. So if you don't have that ad spend, then it comes down. You just have 100 people, and then you're looking at $500, and you work the numbers that way. But I always work the numbers because then it allows you to see what the potential is and where the holes are that you need to plug. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Why are you? You're laughing.
Yeah, that was great. We need to hire Valerie, Michael. So I think some people are loving that. The other guy's like, what? He's like, what is that? So it was. We're going to break it down. If you're a beginner on this, we're going to have Valerie in a moment here, kind of share her screen and kind of boil it down for you. So hang in there with us. You're actually in for a treat because Valerie's actually going to share her screen. And I don't know if you want to say whose ads those are, Valerie, but it's a pretty well-known person.
Sure. John Lee Dumas. I just ran a campaign for him last week.
So we're actually going to show you her little bit about his campaign, and Valerie's going to walk you through that in just a few moments. So hang in there if you're a beginner. We're going to boil that down. Otherwise, gosh, Valerie's dead on. Cost per conversion, how much is your price point for your product, and all this stuff, right? All that matters because it's all about creating an ROI out of your ads. And like you say, if you have a $400 product, you could maybe afford a little bit of a higher lead, but it's all math. It's all like math geeky stuff. That's like it's like crazy stuff. But anyway,
you got to know your numbers, though.
You got to know your numbers. So, what is the best piece of content that people should use Facebook ads through? Is it a blog post? Is it a video? I'm sure the answer is you need to test it. But in your opinion, from what you've seen, what are you liking? What do you feel like people should at least try to start funneling ad traffic through?
I mean, my favorite, hands down, is Facebook ads to webinars because it's like the shortcut, the fast path. Because people, just like we're on live now, people can see us, people can hear us. Even if you do a webinar like on GoToWebinar and you just have your voice, people still make that connection with you. And what happens is that like know and trust cycle that we always talk about, that moves much quicker. Yeah. So it's much quicker than like a downloadable. So an ebook versus they're hearing you, they know you're a real person. No, it's not fake. You're being very transparent, and I find that to increase that trust, which increases conversions and sales, and that's my favorite thing, And even those numbers I get, only 20% show up. As we go on and more people do webinars, less people show up, and you have to do more things and so on. But the truth of the matter is, you're building your list at the same time you can make sales. And you can still follow up with those people, for sure.
Yeah. Definitely webinars are a great lead magnet, right, to build your list. That's one of the things we preach to people, like, look, you need to be using something like live events. Webinars really gather up a lot of leads versus putting out recorded content that just recorded content is really hard to collect leads. You're just kind of hoping they'll like text your number, or they're hoping that they'll go to your website and opt in, versus a webinar or live event where you're a virtual presenter where you get on in front of people. You get to collect their emails up front and then really build the know, like, and trust a whole lot faster. So you're dead on there, right? So
right. And one thing I will jump in about blog post. What you can do. So if you want traffic to your website, you can put a little post, a little blurb about your blog post, and a call to action to go to the blog post, but make sure that, and I'll show you guys, I know, John, you're going to jump in with this, but where I'm going is the retargeting pixels. So on your blog post page, make sure you have those pixels there so that you're actually pixeling people, and then you can come back. For example, if I wrote a blog post on Facebook ads, then I would pixel that, and then I have a product, then I could go back and advertise to all those people that came to that blog post that's very closely aligned. That's another great way to use it.
Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna have to watch the replay of this one for sure myself. So it looks like we got the poll in, and it's 33% sell products and 67% are selling services.
Okay. Good.
So 2/3 services. Yep.
And for those, just jump in real quick there, for those people that are selling products, know that it is still pretty difficult to sell from a Facebook ad directly to a product. You know, because people come on Facebook to interact with their friends and family, and they're not necessarily coming on to buy product. So you have to kind of go these other ways and build that relationship first before you try to sell the product.
Yeah. Michael, were you looking to...
I was wondering if I could hop in for a moment. So, we got some great engagement going on in the chat, Valerie, so I'm glad you brought that up. As people commented on the poll, besides answering the polls with the 2 categories, many people chimed in that they're using the ads for lead generation. So I think it's to build the audience.
Good. Yay!
Yes, that's true.
Or they try to sell the product or service. So I think there were extra comments in the chat roll about what they were doing. The other thing that came up was, and some folks, I love the support we're getting. People are answering one another's questions that they're posting.
That's awesome.
Folks were asking if it was possible to specify if you wanted your ads targeted to run at a certain time of day or day of the week. So, some people were asking about that. And then another one I just wanted to toss out for you to be aware of was Selena asked, how long does an ad need to run to get traction? Because she's noticed ad fatigue after a while.
Yeah. And Valerie, by the way, if you want to see these questions, you can. I don't know if you have the Webinar Jam icon on your left-hand side. It's the white one with the little lightning bolt on it. You should have that. If you want to see the ads, the chat roll as well, you're welcome to. I mean, we can pull questions for you, but if you want to see the chat it should pop up for you. But anyway.
Yeah, I tried it.
Anyway.
All right. One more time. Yeah.
Otherwise,
it's not.
Yeah. Okay.
That's all right.
Michael, it's no problem.
Michael
I'll help get the questions to you. But those were the few that we got. Is there ways to sort of set things up for time of day if they're targeting a certain demographic, maybe on a coast in their area? Like if they were on the East Coast and just wanted to target people on the East Coast in their area for an ad, and then the other one about sort of ad fatigue.
Right, and I've got the chat window up now. Yay! Yeah. For the scheduling, absolutely. You could schedule, if you just want them to run on the weekends, you just want on Mondays, you just want on Fridays from 3 to 6, you can schedule that, or you can, run all the time. And then as far as ad fatigue, what I find is that when I start an ad, of course it's dependent on daily budget, but I run it enough to have statistical data. Like if I just get one conversion, 10 clicks and one conversion, is that enough? Not really. I'd like to have, my preference is to have 100 clicks if I have that much budget to work with. Sometimes I don't. But not letting your ad run at least, the recommendations I've heard and I've seen is 72 hours to really get some traction going and get the numbers going. What I would tell you is if you start an ad and then turn it off and then turn it back on again, you lose that traction, you lose that momentum. Facebook does not like that. It's much better to actually start a brand new ad than turn one on and off like that. The other thing, as far as ad fatigue, absolutely that happens. We're living in this world, everybody's ADHD, and imagine people scrolling through their news feed and they keep seeing the same thing over and over. I'm sure you know those times when you're like, oh my God, this is again, I've seen it again. And think about that. We're going on Facebook to interact with our friends and family. Do our friends and family, yes, if you have a new puppy or grandkids or whatever, you're seeing a lot of those pictures, but are you seeing the same same picture over and over? Not usually. They don't usually post the exact same picture over and over and over and over again. But yet, as marketers, that's what we're trying to do because it's the easy way out. It's the easy way out for us, and we're not putting ourselves in the minds of the people who are using the platform.
Right, absolutely. Do like campaigns still work, Valerie? Do you recommend those for your clients?
Actually, they do. I mean, I know a lot of people will disagree with me. I will say the days of 1 and 2 cent page likes are totally gone. I mean, for targeted page likes. Of course, you can target India and the Philippines and all over and, you know, target everyone and their mother and you might get them. But to get targeted page likes, right now I'm running about 20 cents per page like across the board. And what I'm finding, I mean, the social proof, if you need that for your page, I mean, like imagine me as a Facebook expert if I only had 100 likes on my page. It wouldn't look too good.
I've seen those out there.
So you've got to take into account what the social proof means for you and your business, for sure. But the other thing that I'm finding, too, it goes back to that warm audience I was talking about. If you are running my favorite thing to do, I did this with Nick and helped him, you know, build his business to the point it is now by doing this exact same strategy. I ran a like campaign, very targeted, so I was getting people into the page. Then I ran a post engagement campaign so they were actually seeing the content. And then I ran these, you know, opt-in campaigns to get them on the list, essentially the lead gen. So I ran all 3 of those in tandem with each other. Now you get the likes, so you're getting the people to raise their hand and say, yes, I like the page, and then you're running page post engagement right back to those people. So they just like the page. Now they're seeing great content about the page, and then you follow up that with, oh yeah, if you like this, you might love this new webinar I'm having, or this new you know, tip I'm giving, or you know, those types of things.
Wow. Okay.
That was
I thought I knew a fair amount, but man, that's amazing.
Yeah,
So we definitely need to talk to Valerie and Michael.
We do. We're getting schooled by the Shoop tonight.
We're getting schooled.
Good. Schooled by the Shoop. I have a few other great questions that have come in from the audience that kind of relate to this, so let me just share them now. Con and Christy have brought up about pixeling. I was wondering if you could describe pixeling in a little more detail so some people that are new to this will understand. And also, Christy had asked, how many people would you need to have visit your blog to even bother with the retarget pixel?
Okay, and see, I'll start with that question because, yeah, if you don't have a lot of organic traffic to your blog, then you're like, okay, it's going to take a long time to build that audience. The good thing is Facebook builds it in the background, so it's not something you have to do, you know, you don't have to, what am I trying to say? You don't have to be actively involved in that. You put the pixel up and then it just builds in the background. But this goes back to what I was just saying. If you run a page post engagement ad or a website click ad that sends traffic to your blog post, then you're going to build up that audience really quickly. So you can actually use Facebook ads to amplify the number of people that are going to your blog post, which is increasing the amount of people building in that audience that then you can retarget.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense?
Yeah. So you talked about tracking your ads. I mean, you're talking about pixels, right? I mean, the Facebook pixels. There's a retargeting pixel that you can put on pages on your site to kind of build that as kind of almost like an email list there, almost, right? Or a way to track people, but how do you normally track your ads? I mean, you use what type of campaigns, and how does someone track their ads maybe for the beginner level a little bit here? How do they track their ads to know that they're getting good results?
Sure. And first, I want to address the pixel issue or question. It is so simple, and I'll show you guys when I flip over to the screen share. It's so simple to do that. It's just create the pixel. Facebook gives you this little snippet of code. You can copy and paste it. If you do your own websites or you use lead pages, super easy to paste that in between the head tag. If not, Facebook even gives you a little email, so you can email your webmaster. So don't let the conversion pixels and retargeting pixels scare you. Super easy because Facebook does the heavy lifting on that, and it's essentially copy paste. Then to your question, John, as far as what I do there, of course the conversion tracking pixels, what I like to use, and that tracks people from when they click on an ad all the way through, so I know the people that actually put in their name and email address, and that's how I can use that to scale up and be able to know what ads are working and what ads aren't. And my favorite ones to use with that is website conversions, because website conversions, when you put in your target audience, Facebook goes, okay, these people within your target audience have a history of taking conversions, of putting in their name and email address. So we'll optimize your ad for you and show it to those people first. So you get the cream of the crop of the people that you're targeting.
Absolutely. Jeffrey asks, Valerie, is this all covered in your book? Yeah, please, let's get it in written form, huh?
In written form. Actually, yeah, a lot of it is, especially the conversion. I break it down pretty much step by step. Of course, Nick goes over the strategy and story in the beginning, but the second half, I break it down step by step and go over these conversion tracking pixels and basically how to set your ad up, all the different objectives. All of that is in the book for sure.
Yeah, let me pull up your book real quick here. Let's see here, Valerie. Yeah, let's pull this up. So,
while you're pulling that up, I see a question asking about Facebook has closed a lot of ad accounts, and they don't know the reason why. That is huge right now. Facebook is getting super picky about you breaking their terms of services, and they change those all the time, and they don't send out a little nice email to advertisers saying, hey, by the way, we changed something. So it's on you. It's your responsibility to go check those. Super picky now about 20% text in the images. They won't approve ads that have more than that, and really getting picky about languaging and how you're doing that. And what I mean by that, if you're trying to I want to say if you're trying to press somebody into something because of fear or negativity, they really don't like that right now. So you have to be careful about that. But yeah, I mean, in the past couple of months, it seems like they've went on that rampage of shutting down accounts again.
Yeah, it's been scary, and you want terms of condition, services and privacies on your landing pages. No exit pops or any pops that come up, otherwise they're going to get pissed at you. So. In a moment, guys, I'm going to punch in Valerie's book, and I believe was it a best-selling book when you guys launched it out? It looked great. So this is Valerie and Nick's book. I'm just going to feed it through the chat roll. I guess we could make it in the sticky, huh, Michael? If you want, we could do something like that. But let me put it in the chat roll first.
Yeah, I would put it in the chat roll because then the people in the replay are sure to get it.
Yeah, that's true.
Don't show up in the replay.
Yeah, so we have obviously a good amount of people that are going to watch the replay here. For you guys that are live, I just put in Valerie's book. It's an ugly-looking, long Amazon link, but it will take you to Amazon. Get her book. I mean, geez, I've read her book.
It's 99 cents on Kindle.
Yeah, come on, get her book. Get her book, and start looking at her stuff because it's really vital, information for your business. So it's and it's a quick read. You can sit down, read it. Well, most of it's pretty quick, right? Some of the technical stuff might take a little thought, but
I broke it down pretty good, though.
Yeah, pretty good. So Valerie, I don't know if you just want to go ahead and share your screen a little bit. So, guys, in a minute here, I think we're going to have Valerie. She's going to pull up her screen and kind of just take you behind the scenes. And this is actually John Lee Dumas of Entrepreneur on Fire, who many of you probably know or will know soon. His ad campaign, which Valerie has helped, was his expert, right? Who really helped run his campaigns and make him a ton of money and do very, very well with his business. So, in a moment here, she's
I was just going to say I was the one that helped him pretty much launch Podcasters Paradise in 2014, the beginning.
Man. Yeah. So Valerie's made John. They're good friends. We'll just say that, right? So, but anyway, we're going to. So if you're a beginner, just hang with her. She's going to kind of walk you through, if you would, Valerie, maybe just a couple of the locations. Looks like Nikki got your book. Joanne got it. All right. Yes. Good. Yeah, anybody, just grab her book. It's 99 cents. Or get your mom one. Get your dog one. Your dog. Everybody, should be learning this stuff because it's really helpful for. It's a great way.
Yeah, a review would be awesome back on
Yeah.
Amazon after you read it, because I do go read every one of those reviews and take it into account, because of course I'm planning the second version of that now because Facebook changes so much.
Yes, that's true. You're never gonna have an evergreen book, right? It's like every week this thing is gonna need an update. You better have like a link on your website where you can link out updates or something, right? But anyway, yeah. So if you want,
You
go ahead
ready?
and share your screen. Yep. Selena got your book. Nikki got it. Joanne got it. And now we're privileged to be able to see this. This is really good stuff, guys. Arias is grabbing the book, so that's awesome. All right,
So
Valerie, go ahead.
you can see my screen fine?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. So just from your regular Facebook screen, you can go to Ads Manager here. Once you click on this button, it will actually take you right here. I'm just going to come here because I already had it preloaded, but this is where it will take you. Now, of course, I've got tons of accounts in here. I have a lot of clients, a lot of ones I work on. But like John said, I'm going to show you John Lee Dumas's Entrepreneur on Fire campaign. This is one that we just ran, and I'll show you a little behind the scenes. But before I go there, I just want to show you, kind of take you on an overview for the newer people that maybe have never seen this Ads Manager dashboard. So they make it pretty easy to create an ad. When you click on this button, I just want to go over these real quick. When you click on that button to create an ad, you get this screen where the first thing you have to do is choose an objective for your campaign. So this is why it's so important to start with the end in mind. You need to know, am I doing a like campaign? Am I doing a page post engagement? Am I doing website conversions? You've got to know that before you can even select your campaign. So that's so important. And the ones I use the most, this website conversion, that was the one, like I was telling you, where it optimizes for those people that have a history of taking those conversions. This boost post, that's the page post engagement. Use it here versus the boost post on your actual page underneath your post. That doesn't give you very many options. You have more options here and more control. The promote your page, that's for page likes, like what we were talking about. I have to admit, I haven't had clients with apps, and I haven't dealt a lot with this. Actually, I haven't dealt with the apps at all, so maybe that will be in the future. The video views, I find that to be really good for people actually watching the video. So for branding and awareness, but if you want them to take that next action, say watch your video and then register for your webinar or your event, I find that it's actually better to do the video up here on website conversions. And that was a huge test I just ran in John's to confirm what I had seen before last fall in Nick's, just to make sure that was still the case, and it was definitely still the case. So I'll show you that. So anyway, those are how you get to the particular objectives.
And you use website conversion almost exclusively, right? If you have the ability to place a tracking pixel.
Yeah, I totally do.
Yeah.
Now, the instance where I like website clicks is what I was talking about for the blog post, and you're wanting to build that audience with the retargeting people or pixel, and you're just wanting people to go there. Now, you may have a call to action, but it might be at the bottom of your blog post or something. I still like to use the website clicks for that instance. You can still put a conversion tracking pixel and attach that to that type, but it's going to show it to people who have the history of clicking for the website versus the conversion. So again, whatever your goal is, your end goal, that's how you want to decide what objective you're going to use here.
Right. Okay.
Okay. So then from here, of course, you can see all these different campaigns. We can look at reports. I use the reporting function here. This audience, I'm going to open a couple tabs here. The audience insights I want to show you. The conversion tracking I want to show you. I'm not going to open Power Editor yet. I'm going to show you audiences. So we talked a little bit about research and knowing your target audience. This audience insight tool is great for being able to do some research on Facebook. Where your audience is, you can type in particular interest here. You can define it by age and other demographics. And then what happens is you'll be able to see these popular page likes. I'm just going to put an interest in here real quick that I know is on in here. Oh, it's probably 2 words.
So do you usually target fan pages when you do interest targeting?
Yeah, I
Okay.
target fan pages, and the first is competitors. So I make a list of the competitors, and that's who I target.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can see in here when I typed in Life on Fire, so it gives me these other pages that I might not have thought about to go ahead and target. And when I do this targeting, so I go through here and I pick the ones most likely that are most congruent with my target audience, and then I separate them out to separate ad sets. So then I just have one target per ad set, so I know exactly what target is working and what target isn't working.
Mm-hmm.
It's something a lot of people don't do. It does take some extra time, but you know immediately what's working and what's not. Whereas if I put Life on Fire and Entrepreneur on Fire and Allie Brown all together in the same ad set, I'm not going to know which one of them is actually driving the conversions. And not only am I not going to know which one is driving the conversions, I also won't know what percentage Facebook is showing them. My conversions may be coming off of Life on Fire, but Facebook might only be showing it to the Life on Fire audience 10% of the time. So I'm a control freak a little bit, you know. I like to take that control back, and I do that by just doing one target audience per ad set.
Yeah, and that's a great tip, right? You know, one ad per ad set. How many different fan pages would you consider split testing for, say, like let's say you were going to you picked out your top 5? Are you going to split test all those? Are you going to test all those in a different campaign, or excuse me, a different ad set, or?
Yeah, and I'll show you in John's when I flip over to that. I think I ended up doing like 25 or 30 for him, for his.
Wow.
It all depends on budget. And again, this particular campaign I'm going to show you of John's, part of that was, okay, let's test every which way and then track it all so that we know going in, because he does his webinars, you know, week after week, so that we know going in to the next ones where we're going to concentrate and focus our effort and dollars on.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so conversion tracking, this was what we were talking about, and that's what I said. It's super easy. You can click Create Pixel. You can choose what type that you want, what action you want to measure. So, of course, for webinars, I like to do registrations. For sales, I'll do checkouts. And the key thing here, once you put the pixel name in there, you just say Create Pixel. I'm not going to actually do that right now. I'll just show you. So here, then you can just go view the code, and it gives you that code right there, and that's what you're going to copy and paste between the head tags. Like I said, if you don't deal with that, they even have an email button here where you can actually email it to your webmaster.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, and this is what allows that tracking. It's what allows you to know what's working, what's not working. That way you can pause out what's not working, scale up what is working, and get that best ROI. One thing that mistake people make is they put it on the wrong page. So this would need to go on the thank you page. So the thank you page that people get to after they put in their name and email address. So that's a good tip, because so many people I work with, they're like, oh, I got all these conversions, but it's not showing up in MailChimp or whatever. And I'm like, where did you put the tracking pixel?
Yeah.
So big one there. The audiences, this is where you can do all of those audiences. And remember when I was talking about your warm Facebook traffic? So you can actually take your list and upload that as a custom audience, and you can then target them. Another thing, like what I did for John, I uploaded the list of buyers, people who had already purchased Podcasters Paradise, and then I excluded them. So those people who had already bought didn't have to keep seeing these ads over and over again, and I was able to effectively show it to only the people that had an interest in buying. So that's another thing you can include and exclude.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Then, okay, so those were the main things I was going to show you there. One last thing, just pop in really quick. Another thing called the Power Editor, and this is a more advanced tool. You can do more things in it. they've really got it down so the Ads Manager dashboard, you can do so much more now in it than you used to be able to. Basically, the main differences between the Ads Manager dashboard, which that's this, and I'm just going to pop something in here. We'll just do Life on Fire real quick.
Yeah. Can you show people like kind of what they would do to start an ad? I mean, this is it right here, right?
That's what I'm going to do right here. So I'm mixing accounts, so I definitely won't post this ad. But
no.
So what you can do in here is create your actual ad, and this is where you're going to choose. This is where you could pull in those lists to include or exclude. So if I wanted to do email lists, there's that right there, so I could do that. I could do my locations, of course my age. Here's where I would put in those pages. So like I'm just going to put Allie Brown in here, so I could pull her in. Okay, so that's how I can do that. Then here's a new thing that they added. You could actually save this audience, which is really nice. So as you're doing this, you could just go back and pull that audience back in. And here's where you do your budgeting. So here we are talking about the daily budget. So you could put in, $5, $10, whatever, and it's only going to spend that amount.
And you would recommend daily budget, right?
Yeah. Yes, that's what I use. Some people use lifetime, and that's okay, but what I find when I'm doing a lot of testing and I'm in there optimizing, I'm in there constantly, and I want to run it right up to the webinar, or actually what I do is run it 15 to 30 minutes into the webinar, because those people are still going to catch them. So yeah, I like doing the daily budget, and then I manually stop. When you do a lifetime budget, I will say that when you do a lifetime budget, that's when you can do the scheduling and have more choices of the scheduling. So it depends that way too, whether you're going to run the ads 24/7 or whether you want to do some of that scheduling. So those are the differences there. And the optimization, this is what I was talking about. Always leave what the objective was, because that's where you're getting the cream of the crop and leveraging that data that Facebook has built up about people and their behaviors and their actions. And this is where the scheduling actually is. So you could pick Tuesday from 12 to 6 or whatever. You can set those particular scheduling there. And then down here is where you can actually do your creative. So you can select images, you can put video up, you get to see what it looks like in desktop, you get to see what it looks like in mobile, you get to see what it looks like in right column. This audience network, I've not gotten this to convert, and I just did a bunch of testing again with John and not gotten that audience network to convert. So either I'm not doing the right thing or it's not quite ready for the actions yet. I got lots of video views on that, but not the conversions again. And then here is where you can put your headline and your text, that information down here. You can choose your call to action buttons, and then you can have your conversion tracking pixel. Now, here's the biggest difference between the Ads Manager dashboard, which is what I'm showing you right now, and the Power Editor. It's this, see these numbers right here? Those are limiting you how much text you can put in here. So I only have I believe it's 90 characters. If I take that out, yeah, 90 characters there. And for the headline, if I take that out, I only have 25 characters. In the Power Editor, I'm going to have a lot more characters that I can work with. The other thing is here in the Ads Manager dashboard, I can only have one conversion tracking pixel applied. So that kind of limits you, especially when you're like registering for a webinar and then selling on the back end of the webinar. I want to know what ad not only had the registrations or the opt-ins for the webinar, but also what ad drove the sales on the back side of the webinar. So that's why I always go over here to Power Editor, and I do have the new version here of Power Editor, but we can see that here it's a kind of completely different actually, and I'm not sure if you guys have the new version or not, but I like it. It's so cool because you can filter down. So right now I'm only looking at one. It's because I have this filter on here, but if I take the filter out, then I have all the campaigns here, and that's the level I'm on right now. So if I just go, I'm going to go here, I can apply and only look at that one campaign. And you can see, I told you, so 39 ad sets is what I did in that campaign.
Ooh, man. All right. Jesus.
Yeah.
You did everybody.
Yeah, and you can see each one is done out by the targeting. Now, just like, and another thing I did here was cold and warm, so I could really test those cold and warm audiences. You'll see that the ads are 39, matching the ad sets, because I only did one ad per ad set. Again, you can click here, you can filter. I love this filtering feature to get rid of some of the extra stuff, so you can just focus here. And then here, this is where you go at actually edit your information. So here, again, your budget, your scheduling, your placement, your optimization, all of that's in the ad set. If we look at the actual ad itself, then I got to select it first. Then I can edit that. I can edit the creative. This is what I was talking about, where I can have, I'm using the existing post. Let me flip here and create an ad. This is what I was talking about, where no longer am I limited to those 90 characters and 25 characters. I've got a lot more room, as well as I can change that display URL. And if I come down here, then I can add in all the tracking pixels I want. So key differences there between the Power Editor and the Facebook or the Ads Manager dashboard.
Beautiful.
I'm sure at this point I probably blew some people away. One last thing, I just want to show you guys this reporting feature, because this is what is so important, and I just cringe because people come to me and they're like, reports? No, I spent $3,000 and I never got a report. I'm like, holy moly, how'd you know what was working? So the reports here are just, I mean, it's the tool I use all the time, and I go to those reports, and I can easily track things because of the way I name them in the ad set and the ad. For example, for John's here, you can see I named them all the date of the webinar that I was working with. So I have the overall, I have warm traffic, I have cold traffic, I have video, and I have website clicks, and I've got the video breakdown. So those are all the different reports that I was looking at every day to be able to track what was going on. Just to give you a quick overview here, and the total outcome was for this, we spent $2,400, and this, if I can come over here, 15 checkouts, which actually that jumped up a number. It was 14. 14 was 18,000, so this would be right at a little over 19,000 for him in sales. So he spent 2,400 to make 19,000. I do that all day long, all day long. You can see the cost per registration was $522, but that included everything. That was the average, and that included warm traffic, cold traffic, all my testing, all of that stuff. You can see I also see what converts on mobile and right side. So this gives me so much information.
Wow.
And that warm and cold audience, just to show you guys the difference. So if 522 overall, if we look at cold traffic, then that cold traffic jumps up to 685, and also the checkouts, notice 4 checkouts for the cold traffic. That's a big difference too. Then if we take a look at the warm traffic, then that drops, like I said, about in half, and that's what I have been seeing. And this one, or that's what I have been estimating, because this is the first time I've specifically broke it out to warm and cold. But you can see down to 359, then the checkouts, considerable more checkouts there as well. And the interesting thing on the video was, and I can't, because I had that changed. I can't remember if I separated this out in this particular report, but definitely on the video, what I found, let me pull out this ad set. So you can see I have the videos for website conversion, and then I have these that just are the video here without the website conversion. That is video views. So I got lots of views and lots of clicks, but not very many conversions. And the average cost per conversion on the video views was $15, actually like $15.79. So crazy high. Yet when I came to the website conversions, you can see some of the, 302, $1.90, $2.11. There's a few that are higher, but those warm audiences, those were down considerably. So that's kind of like the behind the scenes of John's campaign and what I did.
Okay.
And again, I'll just show you, I showed you all the different ads, but you can see, let me do a little sort here.
Wow, yeah. Valerie, Christy says, Valerie, you're a Facebook ads report ninja. Arius loves those numbers. Selena says, great tips on Power Editor versus Ads Manager. I think people are digging it. So yeah, a lot of information. But yeah, if you want to share a quick tip, and then Valerie was kind enough to have something to share here today too. So let's get to that before we get past the hour too much here.
Sure. I just want to let people see, I tested those different objectives. So right side, the website conversions, the website clicks, the video views. So each one of those was a separate campaign. And then the website conversions was where I had the majority, of the action going on. And here's something new they did. So I can just hover over that and I can see the number of registrations, the checkouts, the leads for this time frame, for this time period, which is kind of cool. And those leads are actually a free podcast course that John had on the thank you page. So we're almost double dipping, if you will, on what we were doing with the same ad spend.
Wow. All right.
So that's my big tip.
Awesome.
Double dip.
Double dip. I know. I love that. So awesome, Valerie. Well, guys, as you can see, there's a lot of information there. Facebook advertising is an amazingly powerful vehicle. Obviously, Valerie is the expert. Wow, I'm impressed. I'm speechless. Well, kind of. I'm still talking, but I'm speechless, and that doesn't happen too often. So, and Valerie, if you want to share, Valerie, in a moment here, I'm going to pop in a quick offer from Valerie. Obviously, you can see Valerie's talent. She's working with some of the biggest names in the industry. She's actually put together a small mastermind, I believe, to help kind of teach people Facebook advertising. You can obviously see that she's one of the best in the industry. But Valerie, do you want to maybe you want to come back on screen, or you want to maybe touch on what it is a little bit, and then I'll just go ahead and pop that in, and then we can answer some questions if you have time.
Sure.
Yeah,
no problem. Am I back?
Let's see here. Come back on me. I still see your screen, so all you have to do is hit the screen share again.
Yep, I did that.
There you are. You're back. Okay. You're back.
Just a little lag time.
So go ahead, and I'm going to just pop this in, and go ahead. Let's just.
Oh, sure. So the Facebook Ads Mastermind group, what it is I do a live weekly call, just like what I ran through with you guys. I do that live every week, every Wednesday, and of course it's recorded. The first part of it, I try to do some training piece, and then the second part of it, I open it up for Q&A. So you can, I do it through Zoom, so you can screen share. We can address what's going on for you, whether it's headline, image, copy, you get stuck in the Power Editor, whatever. So I'm doing that live once a week, and then I have a private Facebook group where I'm monitoring that, on an ongoing basis, where you can put in your questions in there. You can put in feedback. You want to know how this looks or what you should do, or you get stuck, or any of that. So that's the basis. And then, of course, I have some how-to videos in addition to the live weekly calls that are recorded. So you could go back and go through those, because I know sometimes as you're going through, you're like, now what did she say? What button did she push? So those are good for that. And that's the broad overview of the program. Essentially, think of having me by your side, holding your hand, taking you through your entire funnel, because we don't always while it's Facebook ads, I also address the other things like I've been talking about here. What's your offer? What do the numbers look like? What's your landing page look like? All of those things, because those all tie into your success or not success of Facebook ads.
Okay, great. All right. So yeah, guys, definitely check that out if you're interested in Facebook ads, which I think you should be. Valerie obviously is one of the best and is leading a group over there that's going to learn a lot and going to make a lot of money. So definitely take a good look at her mastermind group. She's doing a lot of really good things. And Michael, I guess we're on to some questions now. Valerie, you're welcome to take off at any time. Just let us know. Always the red phone at the top of the Hangout. You can always hit that to exit graciously. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into some questions.
Yeah, we don't want Valerie to run anywhere yet. We just
yeah, we want to talk. We want to talk to you, Valerie, before we leave here.
Yeah.
Oh, so this is stay on for questions and then stay on for our questions?
No. Yeah. So.
Yeah. I also wanted to put in the chat too, in case anybody's having trouble with the pop-in. It seems to be working fine. The link to go to is valerieshoopman.com/John. So and that'll take you there too, in case you're watching the replay or have any difficulties. So I put that into the chat.
Can you see the pop-in okay? Can you see the pop-in?
Yeah, the pop-in's working perfectly from my perspective, but I just wanted to put the link there too, offer people the link. Some people, in case they want to click the link directly in the chat, they can do that too. We did get a few other questions. I just wanted to go way back. Chrissy had asked a question about what's your opinion of the relevance of the Facebook relevance score?
So yeah, I did. I had my own opinion of that, and then I did some testing. I actually got a 10 out of 10 on some of John's ads, which that was the first time I had done that. I've gotten 8 and 9s before, but also I've seen ads, and this happened again with John's ads, where I had that high relevance score, 7, 8, 9 for a relevance score, but yet my lead costs, my conversion costs were higher on that particular one than one, say I was getting 5 or 6 for a relevance score. So what I would say about the relevance score, know that they are looking at that, and if you're down in the 0, 1, 2, then yeah, there's a disconnect somewhere. Something's not congruent somewhere. So you're going to be penalized for that and look at it. But if you're 5 and above on the relevance score, I wouldn't worry so much about your relevance score. Look at that end goal, your conversions or your cost per page like or whatever your goal is, then that's the number you should be focusing on.
Sure, great. And Selena had a mastermind question. It's funny, we talked about this in the green room before we got started, but you use Zoom currently for your mastermind as opposed to Hangouts. But just say this here, Valerie actually joined our Hangouts Success System Mastermind, so she's part of our group. So I think she's open to exploring using Hangouts in the future, as it continues to grow. So I let Valerie answer that too. So.
Absolutely. That is exactly why I purchased your program, because you guys have that dialed in. I haven't messed with Webinar Jam since they first rolled it out. I bought it the first day I think they made it available and played with it a little bit. But you guys continue to play with it and I haven't. So why not learn from your expertise?
Excellent. And Aureus has a question which goes back to the cold traffic. Does cold traffic target people that would have no connection, and warm traffic his friends, going back to John's campaign that you were showing? The warm traffic's the email list, correct?
Yeah.
Right. The warm traffic is the email list, the Facebook page, and the website custom audiences, that we had pixeled. So landing pages, blog posts, etc. So that's the warm traffic. And then the cold traffic is the interest, like I was typing in Allie Brown or Life on Fire. And the key thing, so many people don't think of this, it's your competitors. Make a list of your top 3 to 5 competitors and then see if they're on Facebook. And I have people say that, you mean I can target my competitors? That's kind of weird. Well, think about it. Your competitors, that's your target audience. They're following those people. And we kind of get stuck in that scarcity mindset where, if they're following them and they're not going to follow me, or they're not going to want my stuff. But everybody attracts different people. have different like they might not like your voice, or they might not like how complex you made something, or they may love how simple you made something. So there's so much to go around. Again, it comes back to making it congruent and knowing who your target audience is, and then finding out where they hang out, what pages they like, what interests they have.
Boom, that's huge right there. Looks like Travis said, if you had a $1,000 budget to test an offer/webinar, what key stats would you monitor and determine success and warrant more spending?
So for a webinar, of course, convert the registrations. We're building our list, so I'm looking at the cost per registration. But if they're selling something on the backside of the webinar, I want to be looking at what the cost per sale is too, so I'd have that checkout there. And that's what I'm going to be looking at. But ultimately, the webinar hasn't happened yet, so in the front end, I'm going to have to be looking at the cost per registration and dealing with that. And that's where I'm looking at, scaling up the ads, pausing out the ads. And whenever I go into something, I have some sort of idea. So I'm like, okay, $5 or $6 or, whatever that might be is the most I want to spend. And then whatever ads are coming in, immediately anything coming in over that, I pause out. And then I work with the lower ones and keep working them down. Now, with a webinar, if you're selling something on the back end, then tracking those checkouts, what that allows you to do is kind of have a head start the next time when you do the next webinar. Then you can go straight to the traffic that was not only giving you the conversions for the registrations and the lower cost, but also the ones that were tracking or converting into sales as well.
All right. Do you have any other questions, Michael?
I don't think so. I think we've got them all covered from what's come in. This has been great. What an great audience we have tonight. So
Yay!
This has been great there. Yeah, and Valerie, you're we definitely have gone to school with you in Facebook ads. So this has been great. But the audience has stayed captivated. So if anybody has any last questions, feel free to type them in. But I think I don't see any others that I think I've got them all from what we've
awesome.
People rolled in.
Cool.
But I also love the interaction. Tonight's been great because people have been supporting one another too. So it's a real.
I love that when that happens.
Yeah, full of love tonight. So if you guys have a last-minute question, otherwise, again, Valerie's offer for her mastermind group is still in the pop-in, so take a look at that. That is definitely a great offer for a great program with obviously a great leader in that industry. So Travis says, awesome. Yes, and selling on the back end. Ari says, that's a great tip. Keep your friends close and your competitors closer. There you go. I know, right? That's the old.
I've never heard that.
Yeah, that's the old mobster, right? Like, have you ever seen the old mobster movies where like keep your enemies closer, right, or whatever, right? So
keep your friends close and your enemies closer. In this case, it's competitors. But I think competitors you can share the love too. We're in a love fest tonight. So
there you go.
I bring the love.
You bring the love.
Everyone's chiming in. Thanks, Michael, John, Valerie. This blew my mind. Okay, well, hopefully that's good. Great job, everybody. Selena, Arias, Jocelyn, great webinar. Thanks. Awesome, guys. Hey, hope you enjoyed that. Again, check Valerie Shoopman out. Valerie does have a site, valerieshoopman.com. She's working on putting up so that you can get on her email list, and I'm sure she's going to give away lots of great stuff. And also consider her mastermind program because, hey, that's a powerful way for a low cost to really get to obviously work with somebody who has a huge mind in this stuff, more than me, that's for dang sure. So that's awesome. Great webinar, Yvonne. Yeah, experience. Really appreciate the idea, finding out about our competitors. Thank you. So, all right. Awesome, everybody. Well, again, check out Valerie's book. I just put that in. If you're listening to the replay, check out the pop-in. Also, we had the book going through the stream here, obviously, throughout. So I guess that's it for now. Have a good night. Michael, you got anything? Valerie, you guys ready to sign off? How long is the RSS? How long is the offer available, Valerie? Is that an ongoing offer?
Yeah, for the mastermind. Yep.
Yes. So it's ongoing. There's no deadline, RES, but other than just getting going with these things, which is I always have a lot of urgency in me. I'm always like I got to learn stuff. So anyway, all right. Well. Thanks for coming, everybody. On behalf of Michael and Valerie, we'll sign off. thank you for coming, and we'll be in touch for our next webinar. All right, take care.
Cool. Thanks for having me on, guys.